I'm Mike with House on the Mend, and in this video we're going to be reviewing the Black+decker cordless 40-volt sweeper vacuum combo. So let's get started.
If you break it, he will fix it. If you buy it, he will build it. House on the Mend.
Well, fall is in the air. That means the barbecue cover is on and all the leaves are falling off the deciduous trees. Now these are making a mess around our yard, collecting and blowing around every time the wind goes. And over the years I've had to clean them up with a rake and follow around with a garbage can. And that gets to be pretty tedious. So this year we're going to try something different. All right, got everything laid out here. This is the power head. Over here you have the collection bag. These 3 tubes go with the vacuum attachment, and these 2 tubes go together for the blower attachment, or sweeper as it's called with this unit. A couple things to point out on it that are pretty cool. First of all, this is the on-off switch, but right here, this is the power command dial, and it goes from 1 to 6. So you can actually dial up the amount of power you want. Now for the blower, or sweeper as they call it, you might as well just leave that on 6. But if you turn it down a little, it will prolong the battery. Now for the vacuum, I think this is going to be very interesting because you can dial down the pressure a bit if you're picking up mulch or other things, because all you want to pick up is leaves, right? You can turn down that pressure a little bit. So that's pretty cool. Now, on the other side of this unit, you have the fan cover. So this is in its blower mode right now, where the air comes in this way and is going to expel out this way, thus pushing or sweeping the leaves or debris away. But if you push this little plastic piece right here with the arrow on it, you can then pull out the fan cover, and that gives you access to the inlet to start assembling the pieces for the vacuum. And we'll get into that here in a minute. To put the fan cover back together, you just line up these little posts here and press it right down into place. Pretty easy. All right, the kit I purchased did not come with the battery. It was the tool only because I already have 2 40-volt batteries from the lawnmower that I have that works pretty well. Now these are not very impressive as far as their size. These are 2 amp-hour batteries, but one thing I do like about them, unlike the smaller Black+decker batteries, is these have the charge indicator. And those 3 dots, according to the manual, represent 77 to 100%. When you get down to 2 dots, you're at anywhere from like 45 to 77. And then the 3rd dot is 18% to 45%. When there's none, then you've fallen below 18% battery, and the unit will probably save itself and start shutting down. So the charger for the battery is very small, like most of the Black+decker chargers that I have. It actually just slips onto the front of the battery like that. And you can see the different indicators on there. It's got 1 light that will be blinking or solid. It can be blinking or solid green or red. And as you see here, a solid green means a fully charged battery. A blinking green means it's in the process of charging. And then whenever you get a red light, you're having an issue. So if the battery's bad, it will just continuously blink rapidly red. If you're getting a long blink and then a short blink, long blink, short blink, that means that it's either too hot or too cold. And according to the manual, you do not charge the battery pack in air temperature below 40 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 4.5 degrees Celsius, or above 105 degrees Fahrenheit, or 0.5 degrees Celsius. So you want to charge basically indoors under controlled, comfortable environments, and that will help prolong the battery life. I also store my batteries inside as well, so they're not getting wide temperature swings. All right, set up for sweeper mode, where it's actually going to blow out and blow leaves and debris. Couldn't be much simpler. You line up these hollow spots in the tubes with these little raised bumps, and you click them together in place. That's a pretty good solid connection. And then that lines up this way with a little bevel heading up and slides right in like that, clicking into place with that hollow portion of the tube. To remove it, you would push to disengage this clip and pull it out. All right, I'm not going to spend too much time in blower mode because pretty much all blowers are the same. They blow air in one direction. They all have some sort of conical shape to the tube so that they can direct the wind as much as possible. But I did want to show you these different styles here. So this is the 40 volt that we're talking about and reviewing today. This one I already had. This is the 20 volt version. And you can see it almost looks exactly the same. The major difference would be back here, the fan inlet is an integral part of the unit and it's much thinner. And finally, this one here is the rigid 18 volt blower. This one has the battery pack that goes on top, which helps balance it out a little bit, rather than in the back where both of these are. So as far as blowers go, these are all fine. If they can't propel my kid down the street when she's sitting on a skateboard, I'm not all that impressed. All right, let's put this into vacuum mode. The first thing we want to do is take the collection bag and line it up right here, and you can see that's just going to click right into place, really easy. And it's also got a handle here so you can work it with two hands. Now, unlike some of the other vacuums I've had, the corded ones that I've had that have a shoulder strap on the bag, this one just has this little clip here. And you just clip that right into place. So this is going to be a self-contained unit that doesn't go over your shoulders. All right, next thing we want to do is take off the fan cover. So let's push in that little white arrow and pull the fan cover out. And then these tubes are quite a pain to put in. I actually had to put it in off camera because this one was really hard. So I'm going to leave it permanently attached and never undo these because it was kind of rough. But basically what you do is you line up these two arrows that you see here, and it can go the wrong way. You have to line it up with so that the two triangles are right there in place with each other, and then kind of work it back and forth to clip it into place. What I actually ended up doing was setting it on the ground and then rotating it into place. I'm going to do that off camera. All right, there we go. Triangle to triangle, all set up. Now we take this and we line up the little post just like we did when we put the fan cover back on. And it clicks right into place. You want to make sure it's facing down towards the ground when you hold it. Once that's all done, we can take our battery and attach that. It slides into these rails here, and then you just kind of click it into place. That is not very easy. To remove it, on the battery itself, there's a little orange clip that you can put your finger in, and you press it down and it releases by this little spot right here. All right, we're ready to fire this thing up. All right, I'm excited to give this a try. Let's talk about a couple things though before we get started. First of all, the manual says that for most vacuuming, you are going to have the power setting all the way up to 6. I would say that if you start sucking up mulch or other things other than the leaves, then maybe you can turn it down. But for most cases, they're recommending it be on 6. Also, the manual says, recommends that you hover over the leaves, and that prevents you from getting a jam inside of here by submerging it into the leaves. That also will help prevent you from picking up anything other than the leaves, right? Sticks and other things that might clog it. Other things that the manual says can clog the vacuum are wet leaves. So if they're a little bit damp, that's okay. And the manual says if you start getting into the pile to some damp leaves and you can feel it maybe starting to clog up a little, if you head over to some drier leaves like we have here, that can help remove the wet leaves out and continue on. So I got a freshly charged battery. I'm going to put some safety glasses on, some hearing protection, and a respirator. I'm pretty sensitive to dust and mold spores and whatever else might be in here, and then we're going to get going. But before I put the hearing protection in, I just wanted to hear, like you, what this sounds like. So let's give it a blast. Doesn't work. Huh. Son of a bitch. Here we go. That's all the way up to 6. And that's 1. All right, that's not a very high-pitched tone at all. That doesn't bother me. I like to put hearing protection in anyway and then just listen to music. So let me get my eye protection, hearing protection, and mask on, and let's see how well it does. All right, here we go. Well, I think I'd be here all day if I was trying to pick up these leaves with this guy. It's not doing a very good job. One thing I'll say in its defense, though, this is an ash tree, and the leaves come off in a long stem, and there's several of them at once. So maybe that's why it's not picking them up very fast, but this would be much quicker for me with a rake and a garbage can. So that's pretty disappointing. Just what I was trying to avoid.
Hey, Mr. Tree, what you got against me? Why you gotta grow so tall and dry?
block out like a song. But clean enough after you's no fun. Hey, Mr. Tree, what you got against me?
What do you say we move over and try it on some smaller leaves on a different tree? Here's a mixture of hay and some leaves from this privet. I would say it's getting it, but definitely quicker to just get a rake and take care of it. All right, this ornamental tree has much smaller leaves. Let's see if we have any better luck with it. Well, hovering over it like the manual says doesn't really seem to work. I feel like I have to kind of tap it to pick up the leaves. See that? Gotta get right on it. Let's try this green cloud over here, see if it does anything. A little better. This is a mock orange back here. Yeah, I'd say it does a little better with that. Let's go try some pine needles. All right, in this part of the yard, we have a mix of lantana that shed their leaves. We have pine needles, and back here we have some photinias. So let's see how it does. Yeah, it's not really picking up the pine needles. It just kind of keeps them there in a mesh, but that's to be expected, I guess. The little lantana leaves, it did okay. Photinia leaves, we got a few. We've been going here for about 5 minutes or so, and about half the bag is full. So let's take a look at what we're getting and if it's mulching it up good, because that can be a benefit. So one of the things that's nice about these leaf vacuums is that the fan mechanism inside will oftentimes mulch the leaves, meaning breaking them up into small little bits, and that makes them compost easier. So let's see how this one does. First I want to take the battery off, and then let's get the bag off. So I'm going to unclasp this guy right here. There we go. And then push in on this. Oops, push in that way and pull it off. All right. This is going to get messy, but let's take the zipper down. Oh yeah. All right, now that the dust is settled, let's see what we got. So yeah, that's breaking up the leaves really nice. Look at those tiny little bits in there. So if you're putting this right into a compost pile, you're going to be really happy with the way it mulches the leaves. Now, I didn't experience any jams, but the manual says if you do, take the battery off, then release the vacuum tube off of the fan control, and inside here is where your jam would most likely be. They say to take something wood, I have a dowel rod here, and you could pry that piece loose and maybe have it fall out that way. If the battery's removed, I don't see any harm in these little plastic fan blades of reaching in there and removing whatever might be stuck. The one thing they do say not to do is use anything metal to get in there, because you can damage the fan blades. After you clear the obstruction, all you got to do is just merely put the vacuum hose attachment right back into place so it clicks. And you're ready to put it all back together and press on. Well, we've thoroughly tested vacuum mode, but don't go anywhere. When we come back, we're going to test the sweeper mode, and then I'll give you my final pros and cons. As we head out to this break, will you please consider giving this video a thumbs up? I would really appreciate it. Well, I got it set back into blower, or as they call it, sweeper mode. So let's give that a try. Yeah, as expected, that's fine. Well, I think I've tested this unit enough to give you my verdict and list the pros and cons. Unfortunately, I'm going to depart from my normal format and actually start with the cons, because in my opinion, they outweigh the positives. Let me first say that I am not some tool snob who looks down on Black+decker tools. Quite the contrary, I own several of their products, such as the aforementioned 40-volt mower, the 20-volt hedge trimmers, which are amazing. Just one battery easily handles my whole yard. Then I have this Matrix cordless drill, which is interchangeable from the drill to the circular saw, which I recently used to make plunge cuts on a woodworking project, to the reciprocating saw, and the jigsaw, which is the only attachment I don't like. I'll leave links to all these tools, which I wholeheartedly recommend for medium home use. Now, full disclosure, these are affiliate links, so if you click on them and end up making a purchase, it won't cost you a thing, but I do get a small reward at the end of the month. It helps to justify the time and effort it takes to make these videos. The cons. As you saw in the video, the first time I flipped the switch, nothing happened. I left that portion of the video unedited so you could see for yourself that I checked the battery and the dials, and how disappointed I was that I realized I was beyond the Amazon return date. Then I walked over to the camera to turn it off, and the unit started on its own. Thankfully, it has never done that again. Now, the switch could be just a fluke, but what isn't is the mediocre level of suction in vacuum mode. I now think the power command dial is just a gimmick to make you think it might be too powerful. Next, let's discuss the pros. The battery life is excellent. After all of my testing, I still had 2 bars on the battery indicator. I really liked the ergonomic design with the angled vacuum nozzle. The corded version of this kind of vacuum back in the day came straight down to the ground, and for shorter users, it meant you might have to shrug your shoulders, which is fatiguing. Finally, no static shock. I had a corded version with the bag slung over your shoulder, and I would constantly get shocked from static electricity buildup. I never once experienced that with this unit. So who is this sweeper vacuum combo for? Well, it is certainly not viable as a primary source of vacuuming fallen leaves. It did okay with the last few leaves off our fake turf grass, and it might be good for picking up grass clippings around the perimeter of your lawn. If you own one of these, please let us know in the comments below how it does with that. If you already have the 40-volt batteries with some other tool and you're looking for a blower, then this tool might be good for you because it also has the vacuum capability. If you found this video helpful, will you please give it a thumbs up? It really helps the YouTube algorithm recommend it to more people. Also, please consider subscribing. I work really hard to put out good quality content, and there are more videos to come. Until next time, thank you for watching.